I've been promising you guys forever that I would do a health video. What exactly is wrong with me and why I'm sick all the time? Because I know I mention it a lot, but I haven't actually told you guys what is up. So this video will pretty much have no cross-stitching information in it. So if you're not interested, it's totally cool. I don't care. You can just go ahead and skip this one. If you are interested though in kind of knowing a little bit more about me, about my health, and what I've gone through in my life, then this video will be good for you. I am very open about my health. I don't feel like I need to explain it to anyone, like saying like, oh well, this is why it is what it is. That's not why I'm making this video. I'm just making this video because I feel like if there's other people out there who maybe are suffering with the same conditions, or maybe don't know what's wrong with them, which I struggled with for a very long time, maybe this video can help them. And plus, if you're like me, I like to know everything about everything. So the more I know about people, like the better. Like it's interesting to me. So yeah, doing this video just to kind of give you guys an like overview of me as far as my health. So you guys can kind of, get an idea. And I mean, I'm not making this video either for like sympathy. I'm not saying like, oh, poor me, please feel sorry for me. I'm not, if you feel sorry for me, that's not a bad thing. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm honestly not making this video for that. I'm just doing it just more as for me, just to kind of feel like released, like, okay, like this is what it is, what's wrong, and yeah, I can deal with that. So yeah, please don't think I'm making this to gain sympathy or to pity party or anything like that. That's not at all the point of this video. So okay, what I wrote it down because there's no way I'd be able to do this thing without writing down exactly everything. I guess I'll start with conditions that I have. So I'll go like in order of when. Let me see if I can get this camera a little bit. Sorry. Alright, well, it's just gonna stay there. Whatever. No big deal. Okay, so I figure I'm gonna go like by age when I was diagnosed, and then with each diagnosis of what I have, because there are a few conditions that have a lot of symptoms that come along with them that I have. So what I'm going to do is read out, I'm going to say what I have, and then the symptoms, and then go to the next thing, what I have, symptoms, all that kind of stuff. So, hey, shh, it's alright. Scooter, easy. This dog barks it like nothing, I swear. It's just the neighbor. Stop. Hey, it's the neighbor. Hey, it's the neighbor. You shush. Okay, so anyways, if my dog will be quiet. So, first thing I was diagnosed with at age 8 was flat feet. That might not seem like that big a deal. Flat feet, like, what's that? Basically, my feet have absolutely no arch. So instead of, a normal foot that's slightly like this, mine are completely flat. I mean, just completely, there's nothing there. Like, you can't even slide a piece of paper under my foot because it's so flat. The problem with that is that when I walk like this. I walk on the insides of my feet. And it basically throws my entire body off, my hips, my knees, my back, everything is thrown off. And because of that, I experienced quite a lot of physical pain. Got to the point, well, I started having issues when I was 8, so I went to the foot doctor. And Scooter, shh, I'll put you outside. Yes, so went to the foot doctor when I was about 8. Said, flat feet, gave me orthotics, which those of you who don't know are like inserts that they put into your shoes that are supposed to correct your feet. Like when you step down, it's supposed to give you the correct arch that you need. Did that, and they tape my feet, and taping your foot is kind of supposed to help it like stay in the position, and it actually helps for a temporary relief of the pain. But when I was about 10 years old, we went to Disneyland for my little sister's 2nd birthday, which she's mad about because she doesn't remember it at all. But my parents got like a really good deal or something, so we're like, it was like kids fly free, and they got like a really good discount on Disneyland. So we went, and it was so bad. My foot pain was so bad that we had to get me a wheelchair because I could not even walk. And I was 10. I mean, you know, come on. 10-year-olds are supposed to have tons of energy and run around and do all sorts of craziness, but I couldn't because I was in so much pain that I had to have a wheelchair. So when we came back, my doctor was like, that's it, we're gonna do surgery. There's no other option for that. I mean, you can't live your life in like that. Well, let me rephrase that. If I don't have to live my life in a wheelchair, why would I? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if there's a fix for it, why not take that? So anyways, that's what we did when I was 10. I had my first surgery. Looking back at that now, I'm like, that was so young, because I have a nephew who's 11, and I'm like, holy crap, I was so young. But yeah, they did reconstructive foot surgery. They put a pin in my foot, and this is on my left foot, by the way. They put a pin in my left foot, and I could not walk for 3 months. 3 months straight, I could not put any pressure on my foot at all. That was extremely difficult for me. I was a very active kid. I was in a lot of sports. I played tennis, softball, basketball. I was always outside with my friends, always doing something, hiking, camping, you know, anything outside. Not being able to walk for 3 months was extremely, extremely hard. And it also caused a lot of weight gain, which is something that I have struggled with since then, basically. And just, you know, it was a really difficult time in my life. And yeah, I was 10. I mean, that's a lot to put on a kid, you know? So, that's that. And, you know, I've had many more issues with it along the line, but I will get to that as the age progresses. So next, right after that, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism around age 11. The reason why they tested me was because my mom has it, and I was showing some symptoms, and they wanted to make sure that I did not have it as well. I did. So I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism when I was 11 years old, and I'm now 26, going on 27. So I've had this for a long time, and unfortunately, it's caused a lot of issues trying to find correct dosing. I guess I just started going to a new doctor, and he looked at my dose and was like, oh my gosh, why are you on such a high dose? I'm like, that's what they put me on. They retested me. Like, well, yeah, I guess that's what you're supposed to be. So my thyroid is not, it's not a fan of me, and I'm not a fan of it. So I don't know how many of you actually know a lot about thyroid and what it does. It's basically a little gland in your throat. It's like a little butterfly-shaped gland, and it controls everything in your entire body, pretty much. It regulates, like, I think it's your hormones, but like your adrenals, your energy, everything. And it's just, it's not good when it's out of whack. So basically, when I was 11 years old, I was diagnosed with that. Currently, I'm experiencing a lot of symptoms from it. I think that the medication I'm on is not quite taking care of it, even though the tests say it is. Excuse me. I'm going to go to an endocrinologist pretty soon, a thyroid doctor, and do more in-depth testing, because I'm like, if I'm on medication for it, and I've been on this medication for it, and it hasn't changed for a really long time, and then all of a sudden I start having symptoms, obviously there's something not right there. So I want to go to a specialist and see, and I'm actually going to get myself tested for Hashimoto's disease. I don't know if it's Hashimoto's or Hashimoto's, something like that. But it's an autoimmune disorder that is related to your thyroid. And if I have that, it would actually explain a lot of what's wrong with me. It would stink to have that because it's kind of a nasty, and it's autoimmune disorder, like ick, you know. But it would, I just feel better about knowing like this is what's wrong, this is how we treat it, whatever. So anyways, some of the symptoms that I personally have with hypothyroidism, fatigue. Fatigue is my biggest one. And I know I've talked about that in my last video, that it's just, I mean, you know, some people think like fatigue, like, oh, you're just tired, just get over it or just sleep more. Like, no, that's not what fatigue is. Fatigue is, you're so tired, you can't eat. You know, I'm so tired, I stumble to the bathroom because I'm half asleep while I'm going there. I'm so tired that everything around me is like a fog. Like I feel like I'm in a fog or in a dream state. Really, the way that I've been able to describe it to people is if you have ever been on prescription pain medication and you know how you kind of feel that kind of like, oh, like your limbs are kind of heavy and kind of weird, like you're in control of your body and of your thoughts and your movements, but at the same time, you're not. I mean, I don't really know any other way to describe it, but that's how I feel all the time. And it's really frustrating because I've had lots of surgeries, I've been on pain medications for different things, and I hate them. I hate that feeling. So feeling like that all the time and not being able to do anything about it, because it's not like I can just stop my medication because I'm not on any medication. It's a very frustrating thing to have to deal with. So that right now, I think, is my number one biggest issue that I'm dealing with is my thyroid. Some other symptoms of thyroid that I have are like memory problems and brain fog. Also kind of goes along with the fatigue. It's just I can't remember anything. My speech is garbled when I talk. I mix my words up. I say things backwards. It's like I'm almost like I'm dyslexic in the way I speak, because I'll flip my words when I'm talking. It's really weird. And just the whole feeling like you're in a dream state. You're just like the whole time. It's not fun. It's a very frustrating feeling, and again, it's very hard to work. It's very hard to do anything. I mean, crafting is the one thing that I kind of have found that I can do, but even that's hard at times. So, you know, sometimes I just veg out in front of Netflix, which is terrible, I know, but if any of you other chronic illness people will probably understand what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's all you can do. So, yeah, and another thing is hair loss. Hair loss is like ridiculous. I mean, you probably can't tell because it does look like I have a lot of hair, which yeah, I do. But I have, over the past 3 years, it started 3 years ago, I have lost probably 2/3 the amount of my hair. So, or half, or 3/4. I don't know, more than half of my head of hair is now gone. It's just fallen out. It's just what it is. It's, you know, the doctors have tested me and they're like, oh, you probably just have early onset female pattern baldness. Yay. I'm not quite willing to accept that yet. There's more tests that can be done to see, like, you know, with my thyroid, and maybe that's it. Hormones, maybe that's it. I have a lot of hormone weird craziness, so that could be it too. It's really frustrating because, you know, I mean, it's frustrating for a guy at my age. For a girl to lose your hair, like, that's a big deal, you know? Yeah, luckily I had a really thick hair to begin with. But now it's getting to the point where it's so thin that I'm starting to lose, and it's starting to see through here. And here, you can start to see my scalp, which some people just have it anyways because they have thin hair. That's not for me though, and it's freaking me out because I'm like, if I lose any more, I'm gonna start getting bald patches, and I don't want that. So, you know, it's been stressful. Every time I take a shower, I just get globs of hair, and it's gross. And sorry if I'm rambling and TMI, but you know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's what I deal with. So, again, like I said, I'm extremely open about my health things. I will not necessarily go into detail on some of the issues I have, not because I am ashamed or embarrassed to talk about them, but because it's kind of gross. Some of the things, they're not really gross, but don't know. It's just not everyone wants to know the graphic details of health. So if you're interested, contact me privately or Google it, I guess. I don't know, on what some certain conditions are, and I can explain it better to you. Which hypothyroidism isn't one, but you'll kind of understand as I'm going. So I'm kind of making this sound like it's going to be like some nasty, like, oh, thing, but no. Sorry if I'm freaking you out. Just ignore me. Okay, so next feet hypothyroidism. So when I was about 15 years old, I got sick. And by I mean sick, I mean so extremely ill, I had to drop out of school. I suffered from chronic migraines. I suffered from chronic fatigue, from a lot of the brain fog stuff too, but it was so extreme. All I could do was sleep, and I had migraines almost every day. And I mean, not just like a little headache, but like a full-blown migraine. I just had stomach problems. I was having vision problems. My joints were hurting. My teeth started getting really bad. I started getting multiple cavities in my teeth. I can't really think of any other symptoms at the moment of what I have, but there was a lot of just craziness going on. And this was about the time, I was about 15. Went to doctor after doctor after doctor. No one could tell me what was wrong with me. There were really doctors that were like, you're fine, it's just get over it, or one doctor came in, he's like, I don't know what's wrong. And I'm like, oh, well, that's nice. Can you find out? Can you try, And he's just like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong. Well, thanks, doctor, that really helps make me feel better. I literally 100% thought that I had some weird, crazy disease and I was going to die, and that they wouldn't find out until they did my autopsy. I 100% thought that. I thought I was dying. And I was like 15, That was a very, very difficult time in my life. It is also around this time that my parents split up. So needless to say, it was very, very hard for me, all this stuff. I also started experiencing extreme stomach pain, extreme cramping, and my doctors are like, oh, it's just periods. You just have bad periods. You just need to suck it up. I'm like, do you have this pain? No. Have you ever had a period? No, because you're a guy. So how dare you say to me, just suck it up? You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what this feels like to me. So yeah, the stomach pain, I kind of got diagnosed with that first. While I'm still having all this other health stuff going on, I finally convinced my doctor to do a CT scan on my pelvic region. Turned out I had an ovarian cyst. And this cyst was the size of a softball. So, a pretty good, like this, in my gut, on an ovary that's about the size of an acorn or walnut. Yeah. So yeah, my doctor came out. At first I thought I had cancer because of the look on his face. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. He came out and he was just like, I'm so sorry, I didn't believe you. He apologized to me profusely, which I really appreciated, because I was like, yeah, dude, seriously, I've been complaining about this for a very long time, and you just kept blowing me off like it was nothing, Turns out, oh no, it was very something, and it was an ovarian cyst, and it was so large that it had to be surgically removed, which, was not very fun. The doctor that I had at the time, my female doctor, was not a very nice lady. She was very, did not have a good bedside manner, let's just say. She was extremely rough with her, just everything that she did. And my surgery was extremely, wow, okay. My surgery afterwards, I was in a lot of pain. A lot of pain. Every time because they had to do abdominal surgery, and basically what they did was laparoscopic, where they take little robots, or not robots, but little arms. Instead of cutting me all the way open like they would do in a C-section, they were able to just make little, 3 or 4 little slits in my belly and go in that way. so that, you know, reduces scarring. It's supposed to help reduce like the recovery and all that kind of thing. Yeah, it didn't. This doctor was extremely, she wasn't a good doctor, to be honest. Like, she was not. Yeah, I was in more pain after the surgery than I was beforehand. Every time I'd move, it felt like my gut was gonna split open. It was terrible. And she dropped the machine on me and it burned my skin. Yeah, afterwards she's like, oh yeah, those two little dots there. I have like this weird scar. It's like two little like puncture marks, almost look like vampire fangs or whatever, like, but they like stick up. They're really weird looking on my stomach. But anyways, she's like, yeah, that's I accidentally dropped the machine, it burnt you, so sorry about that. I was like, what? You did what? Yeah, so you know, I was 17. Yeah, I think I was about 17 when this happened. I wasn't too pleased with my doctor. Also, right around this time, I did find out why I was so sick. I finally went to, I tried doctor after doctor. Finally went to a doctor who, not a naturopathic doctor, but kind of was like the in-between. Like, he was an actual MD or DO or whatever it is. I think it was MD. But he believed in the more natural healing and the natural things like that. So he very much mixed both. And he had a nurse practitioner who was also a naturopathic person. I don't know what they're called. I went to them, and at first he thought I had Bell's palsy, because when I would get migraines, which at this point I had a migraine for 3 months straight, and I mean, like, literally every single day I had a migraine. Like, there was no relief for 3 months. It was just constant pain. Some days were a little better than others. Some days I was able to get up and do stuff. Other days I just laid in bed all day, did nothing all day, because the pain was so intense. We tried, you know, medications, we tried massage, we tried chiropractic. Nothing worked for these migraines. So the doctor, you know, because my whole left side of my face would get numb when I have these migraines. It's like, well, maybe it's Bell's palsy, you know. So they did an MRI scan and came back, and that was clean. And he's like, well, you don't have that. And he looks at me, he's like, you've been tested for Lyme disease. And I was like, what? Lyme disease? And like, I've heard of it before, but like, isn't that an East Coast disease? I live on the West Coast. I've never been to the East Coast. And I was like, besides, that's supposed to be like a tick bite. I've never been bit by a tick, at least not that I know of. I mean, obviously I'm pretty sure I have been, but I didn't know it, you know. And I was like, I never got the rash, and you're supposed to get like that weird bullseye rash. Never had that. Nothing. And he's like, yeah, I think you might have Lyme disease. I was like, well, okay, whatever. I'll get tested for it. I mean, you know, the most it's gonna do is it'll get a little prick in my arm for blood draw, and that'll hurt. Other than that, it's like, it's not gonna hurt me. Came back positive. Yeah, I had Lyme disease. They believed I had Lyme disease for 3 years before I was diagnosed. Now, I know, I'm sure some of you out there who live in kind of areas of the country where Lyme disease is prevalent, you will understand the severity of that. Going 3 years with being undiagnosed is hell, basically. It really is. And it was more than not knowing. It was like, you know, I literally thought I was just going to die, or I was going to live the rest of my life, or I was going to become an invalid and live the rest of my life that way, and that's just the way my life was going to be. It was horrid. It was horrid. And this is, you know, when I'm, you know, 15, 16, 17 years old. I'm supposed to be having fun with my friends and doing crazy stuff and all that. And no, I was in bed because I was so sick. I dropped out of school because I was so sick. And that to me was huge, because school has always been something that I love. School. I'm one of those weird people that love school. I love learning. I'm very ambitious. I want a lot out of life. So that was a very huge thing for me. So basically, I went to a naturopath, and we did acupuncture. And at first, I was very unsure about it, because I've always been very science-minded. I want to be a veterinarian is my career. I've always been, you know, medicine, science, you know, that weird hippie stuff, you know, whatever, that doesn't work. Well, let me tell you, it does, actually. It works very, very well. I had acupuncture the next day. I didn't have a migraine. Not 1 ounce of pain in my head. And I like woke up and I thought there was something really wrong with me. So I was like, what is this? I haven't felt like this in 3 months. You know, what the heck? Yeah, it was awesome. So from that made me a believer right then and there. I was like, how can little needles like actually make you feel better? But oh my gosh, they do. They do. So I recommend everyone try acupuncture, and it's not scary. And people are like, oh, I'm scared of needles. Really, it's not bad. They're little tiny, really, like some of them I don't even ever even feel. You know, if you get a good acupuncturist, you won't even feel them, and they make you feel awesome. Anyways, so yeah, I went to her and I went on some natural treatments for it, and I got better. And so the unfortunate thing is, because I had it for so long, I do believe I have chronic Lyme disease. Now the problem with that is majority of doctors and medical professionals, including like the CDC, will not even admit that there is such a thing as chronic Lyme's. They say, well, once you have your antibiotics and you take it, you're good to go. You don't have it anymore. Except for there are tons of people out there in this world who still exhibit symptoms and who still have problems years later after treatment. So I truly believe that there is such thing as chronic Lyme disease because I am personally living it. I'm experiencing what it was, and you know, I feel if I was able to get treated earlier, I think some of the things that I have would not be as bad as they are, or I wouldn't have, period. But because it's such an unknown disease, nobody really knows about it, nobody really is willing to accept that it's a problem, I went untreated. And there are many other people out there, I'm sure, who have Lyme disease and don't know it. You know, and doctors like, oh, it's this, it's that, and they're not getting better, but they're not really tested for Lyme disease because, oh, Lyme disease doesn't exist on the West Coast. Really? Yeah, I don't think so. Ticks exist on the West Coast, right? So, pretty sure Lyme disease does. Anyways, get off my little soapbox now. If any of you do have more questions about it, though, please feel free to contact me. I've done a lot of research into it, and it's really kind of scary how many things actually Lyme disease can mimic. It can mimic a lot of different diseases, and one of the ones that it mimics for me is fibromyalgia. I have a lot of the symptoms of fibromyalgia, but I'm pretty sure it's my Lyme disease because, you know, it's just what it is. It stinks. Right now, the main things that with my Lyme disease is basically it eats away at the soft tissue of your joints and at the enamel of your teeth. So that's what I was talking about before. I got cavities a lot. I have basically no enamel in my teeth because the Lyme disease ate it all away. So my teeth are extremely, extremely weak. So I've had multiple cavities, and it doesn't matter how well I take care of my teeth, if there's no protection in there naturally, there's nothing that I can do, which is really unfortunate, you know? So yeah, that is that. Migraines, I still do suffer from chronic migraines. Acupuncture is literally the only thing that has helped me. So I want to suggest to anyone out there who maybe suffers from migraines, try it. You have nothing to lose. You might be a little uncomfortable for a few minutes, but with the needles. But honestly, if you find a good person, do your research, find someone who's a good bedside manner, and you know, it's the only thing that helps me. So headaches. I also, because the Lyme disease does eat away at the soft tissue around your joints, I do now have arthritis in a few of my joints, and there's nothing really they can do about it because it's just missing the tissue. There's really not much you can do when the tissue is gone. So I have arthritis in my right knee, pretty severely. It's, you know, it's not very fun. It's not rheumatoid arthritis. It's osteoarthritis, I believe is what it's called. But it's, you know, so it's not quite as severe as rheumatoid. But it's still bad enough that there are times when it's difficult for me to walk. It's difficult for me to drive because it's my driving knee and it'll lock up or it'll freeze in certain positions, and it's very painful. I have it in my wrists, I have it in my hip, and I also have it in my foot, my left foot, though that may have been caused by surgeries, other things. you know, it's hard to say on that one. Yeah, the other thing is fatigue. I'm looking at my list, that's why I keep looking down. Fatigue is another issue with the Lyme disease. So, you know, like I said, I have hypothyroidism, which causes fatigue. I have Lyme disease, which causes fatigue. So you put them together, it's just like, I'm just like dead all the time. It's not fun. What was one more thing, I think? Oh yeah, just weakness in general. Lack of motivation, lack of interest in things that you used to love. That's all from Lyme disease. And I remember there was a point where I just didn't care anymore. Not like about living. Like, thank God, I've never been suicidal, and that's only because of Jesus. Like, I gotta say, if it wasn't for Jesus, I don't know if I'd still be here today because of all that I've gone through, physically and emotionally. It's just hard, but I've never been suicidal. I can say that 100%. And that is 100% because of the Lord. So, yeah, that's awesome. So when I say, like, I just don't care, it's more about, like, external things, you know? I stopped hanging out with friends. I stopped reading, and I'm a huge reader. I used to read a book, like a book a day, basically. You know, like I said, I've been very motivated, and I wanted to be in school. I had my whole future planned out. I was going to graduate early, go to school, get my degree, you know, do this and that, get a few different degrees here and there, and become a veterinarian and love life. And I just had no desire to do that anymore. And that was so uncharacteristic of me that it scared me to my core, because I was like, this is not me. You know, and this was before I was diagnosed. Yeah, it was a really scary experience. But now, I mean, there are still times when I do struggle with lack of motivation. Part of that is because I do also suffer from depression. I am clinically depressed. I was diagnosed when I was 18 years old, but I'm pretty sure I've had it since I was about 14 or 15, about the time I started getting sick. At that time, it was more, I think, of a situational depression. But it does run in my family. And I think mine, I'm pretty sure I know mine, is an actual chemical imbalance in my brain. It has nothing to do with, oh, I'm sad because my situation is bad. That's not why I'm depressed. I'm depressed because the chemicals in my brain don't work the way they should, and it causes issues. So yeah, it's hard. And you know, when you're depressed, it's like, you just don't want to do anything. You just want to lay around all day and sleep. And then to add that upon everything else, it's just like, you know, this trifecta of like craziness, and just, my body basically is just so weak, because the Lyme disease also eats away at your immune system. So I have a really low immune system. It's not as severe as like HIV or AIDS, something like that. You know, it's not nearly as severe as that, really. But I do have a suppressed immune system, and so it doesn't take much for me to get sick, and it doesn't take much for my body to be overwhelmed and overloaded. And when that's the case, it shuts down, I go to sleep. It's not a choice. It's not like I'm choosing, like, oh, okay, I'm too overwhelmed, I'm just gonna take a nap. It's like, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm gonna pass out and take a nap, because I just can't even keep my eyes open. It's a bad thing. So yeah, okay, backtrack a little bit. Around the time Lyme disease, and then I ended up, the doctor, the naturopath that I went to, suggested a different OB for me to see, because I said mine was, oh, I never wanted to go back to her. She was horrible, you know? And I was still having a lot of pain. Went to a new doctor, who I currently still have. I love her to death. She's an amazing doctor. But, which, let me tell you, is important. If you are suffering from any sort of disease, or just health in general, if you don't trust your doctor, if you don't like your doctor, find another one. If your doctor's not willing to listen to you, go to another one until they're willing to listen. It's so important that you are on top of your health, because doctors sometimes will just be like, you know, oh, you don't have it, and they just blow you off. Well, like me, I experienced that, and I went to someone else, and they tested me for it, and they're like, oh, you actually do. Whereas the other doctor, who said I didn't have it, wasn't even willing to test me. He just said I didn't have it, and that was it. So, anyways, soapbox. So yeah, I went to this doctor, and we decided to do another surgery because they saw what looked like could be a cyst on my ovary again, and they wanted to make sure nothing was wrong. When they got in there, turns out the doctor I had before had actually left part of the cyst on my ovary, and it caused it to rot, and it caused it to go, like basically go into my ovary, and so they had to remove half of my ovary because my first doctor botched the surgery, basically. Yeah, was not happy. At that time, I was diagnosed with endometriosis, and endometriosis is something that runs in my family very strongly on both sides. My mom's side, it hasn't hit majority of them until they've been in their late 40s or early to mid 40s. On my dad's side, it's hit in the 20s. I was diagnosed with endometriosis when I was 17 years old. That was very difficult for me. This is the one that I said I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on because it can get kind of gross. The details of endometriosis and all that. So if you're interested, if you don't know what it is and you'd like to know more information, you know, WebMD or whatever, Google it, or talk to me. Basically, what it is the tissue that lines your uterus, the inside of your uterus, grows on the outside. And it causes all sorts of problems. It causes immense pain. I mean, just immense pain. I've heard some women who have endometriosis and have children say that at times the endometriosis pain was as bad, or if not a little worse, than childbirth. I'm like, holy crap, that's bad. So yeah, I have that. And unfortunately for me, I have it to the point of where there's not much that can be done. They've done surgeries. I've had 4 surgeries for it already, and I'm only 26. You know, I've been on lots of different types of medications, birth control, hormone supplements. I'm currently on 2 different types of birth control right now to try and keep it at bay. And it just basically, all the medication does is make it bearable. I still have in constant pain. I'm still, sorry, dog's looking at something outside. It's rough, you know, it's very difficult, and it's one of those things that, again, it's hard for me to hold down a job with this because there are times when all I can do is lay in bed with a heating pad because I'm in so much pain. There's not much I can do, or I take pain medication and then I can't work anyway, so I'm on pain medication. It's just, it's not a very fun disease to have, and unfortunately it can cause infertility, it can cause miscarriages, and that as well runs in my family. So it's something that I'm very concerned about. I, though, have had since I was, 17, so almost 10 years, really, to come to terms with it, and I'm okay with it in a sense of if I'm not able to get pregnant, I think I'm okay. My doctors are literally like, it's literally 50-50. You will not know till you try. Either you will or you won't. I mean, which I guess everyone is too, most people are. But it's even more so with endometriosis. And, the risk of miscarrying is higher, and it's tougher to get pregnant when you have endometriosis. So, again, it's one of those things, it's like, you just don't know. You don't know till you try. I mean, I might be able to have 10 kids, all natural, no problems at all. Or I might not be able to get pregnant once. It's one of those things but I'm thankful that I know now before I'm married and before we try for kids, because that can prepare us, just in case if something happens, it can prepare us for it. So that's, another thing. And it is hard at times to deal with that, emotionally as a woman, knowing that you may never be able to have a child. It's kind of tough, But again, it's like, who knows? I mean, like I said, I could have 10 kids, just perfectly fine, no issues. So I'm not terribly worried about it. I'm just I figure if God wants me to have kids, I'm going to have kids. You know, whether that's by natural birth, whether that's by surrogate, whether that's by adoption. You know, I'm honestly okay with that. So that is that. Let's see. What else do I have? I have a lot of things. When I was 18, I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. Now, this is something that I've pretty much had my entire life. It just took till I was 18 and finally finding a doctor who was willing to listen to me and willing to test for things that I was diagnosed. At first, I thought I had Crohn's disease because I do have IBS pretty severely. So they were worried that I had Crohn's or celiac disease. Thankfully, I do not have either of those. I'm very thankful for that because I know those are pretty nasty diseases. But I do have irritable bowel. This is another one I'm not going to go into detail about because I have no issue talking about it, but I'm pretty sure not everyone wants to hear my bathroom habits. So, you know, if you're interested in more information, you can contact me or Google it. But yeah, I mean, it is scary too because I do have an older sister who at age 25? No. Gosh, how old is she? Okay, she was diagnosed with colon cancer at age 34. Yeah. They believe she had it since she was 26. Actually, no, they believe she had it since she was 24. They believe she had it for 10 years before she was diagnosed. Because again, doctors unwilling to test her. They just, oh, it's just this. It's just hemorrhoids. You're fine. You have big kids, you just have hemorrhoids. Don't worry about it. And it's one of those things, it's just like, really, doc? Because if you would have just tested me in the first place, instead of just thinking you know everything, I know you're a doctor, you went to med school, but it doesn't mean you know everything. Sorry, I know I can get kind of crazy about that. I do have really good doctors now that I love and I'm very thankful for, but I've had bad experiences with other doctors. And so now I'm to the point where I'm just like, you know what? If you're not going to listen to me, if you're not going to test me for what I asked for, then I'm not going to go to you because there's no point in wasting both our time. That's just how I feel. But I got a pretty good team of doctors now, so I'm happy with that. Anyways, okay. Yeah, so IBS, and oh man, that's a really difficult thing to deal with too. And having endometriosis, because of the fact that your uterus and your colon are basically right next to each other, when one flares up, it basically causes the other to flare up. So at times I don't know what it is that's causing it. All I know is I'm in a lot of pain. Yeah, so again, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on that because I don't want to gross you guys out. But it's something that it can be caused. I can have flare-ups due to stress. And the weird thing is for me is I don't feel stressed emotionally as much as I feel it physically. So if I'm kind of worried about something, I'm not necessarily worried as in emotionally worried, but my stomach will get all upset and I'll get really bad stomach aches. And that's kind of when I know, okay, I'm a little too stressed out, you know. My body, and I don't handle stress very well as far as physically, just because, like I said, so hypothyroidism, Lyme disease, endometriosis, and IBS are all basically some sort of autoimmune disorder disease issue. So having 4 of them combined, my body really it can't handle a lot, and it doesn't take much for me to become overwhelmed. And so, unfortunately, there are times when I cannot go out because if I don't have a bathroom right next to me, it's not going to be a very fun time for anybody. So, you know, that's rough. Nice about that, though, is I can cross-stitch in the bathroom. Sorry, there was a buzz. I can cross-stitch in the bathroom, so hey, you know. Yeah, so that's basically what I have. And then just recently, I swear, like, my health is one of those things that is like, you fix one thing, something else pops up. You fix that, then something else pops up. Or this old thing pops up, and it's just like never ending, and it's frustrating as well to get out. But you know, I have my good days and my bad days, like anyone, I think. But recently, I've been dealing with a lot of acid reflux stuff. Lucky me. So yeah, I gotta get that tested too. So basically, I have hypothyroidism, Lyme disease, endometriosis, depression, IBS, flat feet, which still cause me lots of issues. Oh, I will talk about that in a minute too. Also plantar fasciitis, which is kind of goes along with flat feet. Depression, and now possibly acid reflux. Yeah. That's what I got. So as far as my feet go, actually, I have had 7 or 8 surgeries in my lifetime. Yeah, 8 surgeries in my lifetime since I was 10. And I know like there are other people out there who obviously have way more serious conditions than I do and had way more surgeries. But for someone who basically has invisible illnesses, like if you look at me, you wouldn't necessarily know I'm sick. I mean, I'm not handicapped. I'm not mentally disabled. I don't have, cancer, so I'm not the classic, no hair and really skinny look that some cancer patients do have. I'm not in a wheelchair, but I have a lot of issues, and so it's just rough, to have to deal with that kind of thing. So surgeries, when I was 10, I had my first foot surgery. When I was 16, I don't know exactly the ages, I just kind of estimated. So then I had surgery for my ovarian cyst. When I was 17, I had foot surgery again, and this is on the same foot. Basically what had happened was the doctor had inserted a pin into my foot to help keep it stabilized. But because that was when I was 10 years old, I still had a lot of growing to do. My foot had grown a lot, and it got to the point where I was in so much pain I couldn't walk again, basically like it was with my first surgery. So we decided, okay, we're going to do the surgery to take the pin out. Well, it turned out it was a lot worse than they expected. The bone had actually grown over the pin, so they had to dig it out and do all that loveliness. So that was like, whoa, that surgery was not as severe though. I was only off my foot for like a week. I couldn't do a whole lot of stuff for like a month or 2, but I was able to put some pressure on it. So that was that. When I was about 20, I had surgery for my endometriosis. That was when we found out that I had endometriosis and that part of my ovary needed to be removed because the old doctor had botched the surgery, basically. When I was 24, so about 2 years ago, I had sinus surgery because all of a sudden, when I was about 23, I had 12 sinus infections in 15 months. And that was ridiculous. And the only time I'd ever had a sinus infection in my entire life was once before that, the year before. One time, my entire life. And then all of a sudden I had 12 in 15 months. I was like, what the heck? So I went to the doctor. It turns out I had a deviated septum and some other sinus technical jargon, I don't know. But anyways, they did sinus surgery. I guess I had too many pockets in here or something, I don't know. They fixed that, they fixed my septum, they did a whole bunch of sinusy stuff, and has helped me. I mean, I still, get sinuses issues. I do have allergies, so, that doesn't help. I do get sinus issues every now and then, but nothing like I did before, so that was good. And then last year, February of 2014, I had my 4th surgery for endometriosis. My last 2 surgeries for endometriosis, my doctor has found a tear in my uterus. This last one was about this large. A good 1.5 inches, 2 inches large in my uterus. Basically, the endometriosis had caused my skin to stretch so much that it ripped. That was painful. I'm pretty sure I can tell you when that happened because I remember feeling something along those lines happening. It was painful. And that happened twice, my 3rd surgery and my 4th surgery. She found a hole in my uterus, so yay, lucky me. So, basically that surgery did absolutely nothing for me as far as pain though. Unfortunately, she cleared it all out, did everything that needed to be done. But I still had pretty much the same pain level that I did before the surgery. And it's to the point now where it's like they really don't want to do another surgery because the risks of it are bad, You You don't want to have, I had surgery like every other year. And it's not good for you, you know? So basically the next step is hysterectomy. And my doctor told me that I'm too young, you know? For, you know, part of that is I'm too young. I haven't had kids yet. I'm not married yet. And the other part is that if they do a hysterectomy, it can cause a lot of other health problems. And I'd have to go on hormone supplements and all sorts of nasties. So right now we're just trying to hold out and see. I'm hoping, you know, the next couple of years my boyfriend and I will be able to get married and try for kids, and then we'll see from there what's going on with that. Yeah, and then September, actually, as I think I talked about in my first video, maybe not, I can't remember. September of last year, so about 9 months ago, I had foot surgery, third foot surgery, and that's actually where I got back into cross-stitching. So it's like, I can't walk on my foot for a while, and might as well, you know, I gotta do something so I can pick up cross-stitching again, which I do believe I talked about that in previous videos, but anyways. So, excuse me. So, yeah, that, totally lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Foot surgery. Okay, yeah, so they went in there because, you know, I was having a lot of pain again. Again, going to where it was difficult for me to walk. And this is all on my left foot. I haven't had surgery on my right foot at all. This is all on my left foot. They went in, and this is all on the exterior of my ankle. But right below my ankle on the left side is where I've always had all the issues since my first surgery. And that's where the pen was. They took the pen out and all that. Well, they go with me because they think, well, maybe it's just scar tissue that's causing the inflammation. There was really no way to tell what was wrong without opening me up. They did MRIs and stuff like that, but they couldn't really see a whole lot. My doctor said there was a mass in there that he was a little kind of like, that's weird, what is that? Well, they opened me up. Turns out I have a bone spur. My doctor said that he's been in practice for over 30 years. That is the biggest bone spur he has ever seen in his practice of over 30 years. Was in my foot. So, you know, yeah, it went from it's only like a 3-week recovery to, it's going to be more like a 3-month recovery because we had to remove bone. That was interesting. And that's what the mass was on the CTs, that they couldn't figure it out. It was bone, and it was so large that it was hiding everything else. They couldn't see anything. So they went in, they removed the bone spur, and the unfortunate thing is I have cartilage missing in my foot. So the doctor did tell me, he's like, this surgery might not do anything for you. He's like, the bone spur is gone now, so I have more range of motion in my foot, which is awesome. Before, I could just kind of go like my foot, it couldn't move this way, I couldn't really move it anyway, it was kind of like, Now I can actually move it, which is awesome. I haven't had range of motion in my foot for a long time. But the pain is still there, unfortunately. The pain is still severe at times to the point of where it's very difficult for me to stand. And, you know, if I can't stand for more than 20 minutes at a time, it's just like, really? You know, I can't walk very much. I can't exercise because I can't, you know, walk. And then my endometriosis pain, I try to exercise, it flares that up. It's all sorts of frustrating. But my foot, he said that I'm missing cartilage in there. And at this point, he said the only option was to fuse. The only 2 options were to either just leave it alone, let it be, just deal with it, or to fuse my foot. And he said he was not going to fuse my foot because I am way too young. He said that at 26 years old, he's like, I'm not going to do that to you unless that's like literally the only option we have. He said that advances in science are you know, really good right now. They're actually trying this thing where they take cartilage from a cadaver and they place it into your body. So like a transplant, but with cartilage. It's a very new procedure, so he said that it's not something that he would do right now because it's very new. They don't really know a whole lot about it and the side effects and blah, 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 blah. But he said that is something that maybe in the future I can look into. It's just in the meantime, I still have a lot of pain. I'm still unable to be on my foot for much. I have to prop it up a lot. it's very, very frustrating. You know, and yeah, I mean that's basically it as far as my health, what's been going on. Um, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of severe issues that I have to deal with. When you combine them all together, it's just like, man, you know, there are definitely days where I feel like I'm just tired. I just want to give up. And again, I don't mean give up as in suicide. I mean give up and I just don't want to care about anything anymore. I just want to go lay in bed and watch my Netflix and eat pizza and just do that. You know? Like, oh well, I don't care if that's lame and what you think about me. I just want to be lazy and eat pizza because poor me, you know, my life stinks. There are definitely days that I have that. But then there are also days that I realize, you know what? Yeah, I might have all these things, but there are people out there who have it worse than me. I mean, I have 3 family members currently that are battling cancer. And it's just like, wow, you know, that's insane. Yeah. I don't have cancer, thank God. That's the one thing that scares me to death is cancer. But you know, I think, well, no, I know that the only reason why I'm able to sit here and be happy and be joyful, really, is the Lord. I honestly don't know how people do it without him, because with everything that I've gone through, I'm like, God, if I wouldn't have had God, like, I can understand people would turn to drugs and alcohol, you know, because it's very difficult. It's very difficult to live like this, to live with all these issues and problems, and people, you know, especially since it's a physical illness, a lot of people look at you and they're like, just get over yourself, you know, you're just being lazy, or it's not that bad, you know, you don't look sick, or think that I use my illnesses as an excuse. Like, oh, I don't want to hang out, so I'm going to say, oh, I don't feel good today, so sorry. That's tough. That's really rough to have people say those things to you, about you, you know. When you're already struggling with feeling bad because you can't do the things you want to do, you know, it's not very fun. But, you know, it's just the way it is, and I've grown a lot through it. I've learned a lot about myself, good and bad, you know. Lost some friends because of it, but gained others, and kept some that are my, you know, just, they're good friends, you know. Yeah, so that's basically it. Again, I'm not trying to make a pity party video, you know, not at all. I just want to let you guys know, like, what's up and who I am and what I have to deal with. And again, it's more of, for me, kind of a release to say, like, oh, okay, you know, this is what's wrong, so I just get it all out there, you know, and all that kind of thing. And also, too, if anyone out there is watching this video and maybe is experiencing some of the symptoms that I have, or yeah, you know, symptoms that I have, maybe are interested in maybe about something, or maybe you have something completely different and you're unsure about it, or you just need to talk to somebody, you know, I'm here, you know. If you want to talk, if you want information about anything that I talked about, please let me know. Like I said, I'm very open with my health. The only reason why I didn't go into more detail on things is for your guys' sake. I didn't want to, like, gross you out, you know. You're like, oh gosh, I didn't even know that, or ew. Yeah, so. But again, you know, if you want to private message me or whatever, you're more than welcome to. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the window. I guess that means it's time for me to sign off. Yeah, so that's just basically me, what I am, what I've gone through. So I really hope this video has been informative, and that maybe, you know, there's someone out there who who is looking for someone to connect with or is unsure about their own health. And, if that's you, please do contact me. I'm more than willing to talk to you, and I would love to help you on your health journey. And even if, you already know everything that's wrong with you, just to be able to talk to somebody who knows what it's like, to be a spoonie is what I guess we're called, people with chronic illnesses, foodies. Hit me up. I'd be more than willing to talk to you. I'd actually would love to meet some of you out there. So anyways, that's this video. I've talked for way too long. I apologize. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, of course, comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys and see what you think. So I will talk to you soon, hopefully. Bye.